since this is SARtastic beasts, and each of those beasts have to belong to a house. The inspiration is obviously from the book. If you know me, I like the Harry Potter series, but more so Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is why this podcast is inspired, and it's got SARtastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So if you have beasts, you will have to have their 4 houses. And no, we're not going to have Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, and Gryffindor. But what I've tried to do is also separate most of the things about these beasts, not to generalize it, but actually put them in houses. So everything about SAR systems, each of these houses right now don't have a name. They are SARtastic beasts, but they belong to 4 separate houses. Anything to do with instrument, that is matter in general, or the vehicle, the tool, will come under the umbrella of the first house, which is the SAR system house. So the instrument itself. So whenever we have episodes where we talk about the SAR systems, which definitely could now include SAR satellites as well. Initially, when I started this podcast, I did not want to talk about SAR satellites at all. I wanted to only focus on the outcomes and the applications, the field applications, since the direction of this podcast has changed. So now what I had excluded, that is the SAR systems, the SAR satellites per se, anything that makes up matter, that is the actual tool that does the work, comes under SAR systems. And to map my interest in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, this doesn't have a name, but the SAR systems will most likely seem like the Hufflepuff group. So if you're in the Hufflepuff house, you're talking about SAR systems, anything that is material. The second group is about the thought. Anything to do with curiosity, computation, processing, measuring, calibration of the calibrator is another thing. So instrumentation is one thing, but whatever advancements are made in that field. This is a new house. So whenever I have an episode that talks about algorithms, let's say the range migration algorithm or the back projection algorithm, that will come under this group. Not to delve deeper into this because there will definitely be an episode on these things, but anything to do with computation, with algorithms, these kinds of SARtastic beasts will come under this group called thought, time, the observer. They fall under that house. And to map it to Fantastic Beasts, anything to do with SAR algorithms, SAR processing, SAR computation, new measuring methods will fall under Ravenclaw. Now, my third house is Gryffindor. This house is what was the original intent of the podcast, the applications of SAR. What is the tool useful for? Like, why should we spend so much money? Anything to do with the implementation, commercialization, practical benefits of enhancements, those will come under this title called Products of Thought. Think of Gryffindor as an entrepreneur. Whatever Ravenclaw, the scientist, brings up, Hufflepuff will produce, and then Hufflepuff is a SAR system, right? So that enhances. Whatever Ravenclaw comes up with has to be workable, has to be commercially viable. And then those manifestations are products of thought. And finally, all the unknowns, all the unknowables, all the risk that you cannot fathom, anything unfathomable, anything that eludes you, anything that's mysterious, that which we cannot name, falls under the Slytherin house. There's a mystery, so it could be esoteric and it might turn out to be pseudoscience, or it could be something that we don't know right now because of a limitation of our own thought. That's how I am going to break up the episodes. So whenever I talk about the beast, you have to start thinking about which house the beast belongs to. So right now there are 4 houses. The first house is Hufflepuff/Matter. It needs a name, so that will talk about SAR systems. The second house is the Ravenclaw, or the Observer/Ravenclaw house. Anything that's a product of thought in terms of outcomes, commercialization, viability. That's the Gryffindor, SAR applications, Gryffindor/manifestations, products of thoughts house. And then finally, things like this, where we like, oh, we don't know, whatever is unfathomable, anything that eludes, or something that is yet to be understood because of the limitation of thought or the limitation of instrumentation. That falls under Slytherin, and those are my SARtastic beasts. The essence is still the same, but it's kind of expanded in multiple directions because initially it was just interviews and SAR applications. I think this takes a holistic approach. I think I should still give a shout out to the first SARtastic official beast was my colleague Andrea. It was inspired by him, and then the INSAR people I had worked with, 3 specialists, my INSAR musketeers, and I'm very grateful to them as well. I hope this is a good start. I need to have my own SAR specific names. So I think I will come up with some name for each house. All right. As the Finns say, moi moi.